Okay. Salute, man. A couple of topics I want to talk about real quick, man. Before I get out the way, it's Nocturnal Thoughts, Boxing After Dark. And I did a little bit of, saying boxing related, uh, you know, searches on YouTube last night, man. I watched a few videos on boxing, nothing too deep, nothing too heavy. But just first of all, real quick, I do got to say the new release video of Deontay Wilder doing those presses with that log, that heavy piece of wood, whatever that was. That's the type of training. That's the type of videos that I can, really support. I can really get behind those type of uh, that type of training. That's just old school stuff. Um, and it just lets me know a certain mentality to do the unconventional type of training. You know what I'm saying? To pick up a cinder block. You know what I'm saying? To chop wood. Um, just just anything that makes you have to go somewhere deep into your mind space to accomplish something like um, and they got the haters talking too. Like when the haters is, trying to, oh, he's trying to get prepared to lift a heavy suit, little ha ha emojis. That's when you're doing something right. When you're doing something that nobody expected. You know what I'm saying? Like when you first was showing some punches, some slipping, some, pivoting, um, different things like that, some pad work hitting the mitts, you're gonna have a lot of skeptics. I'm a skeptic. I'm looking at it and I'm appreciating it, and I love to see the mentality behind the training and kind of, what I'm saying, doing whatever you got to do to prime work to start to get your mind and your body back in fighting mode, fighting condition. So I'm gonna talk about just your training. I'm not gonna worry about everything else. When it comes down to when they actually got a fight that I can really sink my teeth into, there's actually a date and a venue and a press conference and all that, then I can talk about that. But right now, I just want to focus on the training. To see him lifting up that heavy piece of wood that I don't know exactly how much that weighed, but I'm guessing by the looks of it, it had to weigh mm, at least 80 pounds or more. You know what I'm saying? So, but the mentality behind it is what's more impressive to me. You know what I'm saying? Because anybody can go lift some weights, man. On a light day, you can go lift some weights. But to do training like that and look like it was maybe wet sand and everything, I want to see him do some stuff to get his legs right. Here we go. Neighbors cutting the grass first thing in the morning. As soon as it's not raining, as soon as it's not raining for one day, Mud's got to get up and cutting their grass. Jeez. At least it keeps the neighborhood looking nice. Yo, so anyways, I like to see the training. I think the mentality behind that is I can support it. I can understand it. I can relate to it. I'm about that. I, that's that's a salute. Salute for that video, for that one training video, quick little 15, 20 minute, but just pressing that heavy log. That lets me know it's on another level and that you mean real business. You mean something serious. You know what I'm saying? This ain't just you working on the fundamentals. This ain't you just, you know what I'm saying, sharpening up tools. This is you getting your mind prepared for a war. I love it. I like it. I support it. I salute it. And then I'm seeing a little bit more people trying to push this fight between Josh Taylor, Tornado Taylor, and the Jaguar, Jose Ramirez. It's getting pushed a little bit. I seen the Blood, Sweat, and Tears Part 1 and Part 2. I seen, um, the week of the fight, Fight Hub. I can't remember. IFL TV did a video. Josh Taylor, getting cleaned up, getting a little haircut, and Jose Ramirez getting his last, exercise. You know, it's just the last week where you're trying to mentally tune in. So that's what I like boxing. That's what I love about boxing. To watch the fighters mentally tune in to that last week when you're trying to peak, when you're trying to peak for that fight day. You know what I'm saying? And the journey it takes to get there. And his team, I like to see Josh Taylor's team when they touched down, how all of them kind of, got that good um, brotherhood, and you can just tell all those guys is on a professional level, and they all, get behind one idea, and that's gonna play a lot. Both of these guys got a great team, great, coaches. Ben Davison. I think Robert Garcia is probably a little bit more of a seasoned trainer, and I think that's going to be a big determining factor because Ben Davison. I mean, I think he's a great trainer, but to me also, um, it's a, it's only his. I think this is only his second fight with Josh Taylor. The first fight he had with Josh Taylor was like a quick knockout. Um, they say they a good perfect match, but at the same time, I'm not super impressed with Ben Davison quite just yet. You know what I'm saying? I still kind of harp on the idea uh, of Tyson Fury having to leave Ben Davison to go to Sugar Hill to come up with a better game plan to fight Deontay Wilder. Neither here nor there, but I'm still trying to see what Ben Davison really brings to the table. Like, I think he has a great fighting mind, but I don't know if he has the championship, if he has a pedigree type of training that's going to get you into that championship. But I still think it looks like a great matchup between Josh Taylor and Ben Davison. They look like they gel and are very cohesive and synchronized. But is he going to give him the right strategy come fight night? I'm not 100% sure. That might be a big determinant factor because I was always leaning toward the Tartan Tornado for this fight just because he has a little bit more, um, he has a little bit more diversity. He has a little bit more, um, he has that southpaw. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, you know, I was going to say he has a little bit more accolades. That's not the word I'm looking for. I always say accolades when I mean something else. The same word starts with an A. Attributes. He has a lot. He has when it comes to his fight game, his physical attributes. I think he has a little bit more diversity. People was comparing him to a Terrence Bud Crawford as far as him being a switch hitter at one point in time. I haven't heard that in a while, but he still, to me, has more options. You know what I'm saying? He has a little bit more well-rounded ability inside the square circle, where to me, Jose Ramirez, for the most part, is more of a pressure fighter, come forward fighter, and he doesn't work off the same amount of angles, and but it's still going to be a very, very interesting, entertaining fight. I'm still 50-50. This is a fire versus fire type of fight. You know what I'm saying? I still can't see a winner. I still lean towards Josh Taylor as far as um, his attributes, but at the same time, when I look at the the term determination, when I look at Jose Ramirez's um, not gumption, but just what drives him, just what's pushing him to be successful, I lean towards him a little bit more. They both have a lot of pride and both have a lot of, reason to fight. Both of them have a good backstory. I mean, it's just a perfect fight. You got two champions, two guys that got two belts. You know what I'm saying? Both would be the first for each. It would be the first time you would have a Scottish world champion undisputed. It'd be the first time you have a Mexican world champion undisputed at 140. These two things just come, and it's just a perfect, perfect, man. It's like a combustion. I just can't see this thing not being an explosion. All the components are there for this thing to just have a molecular combustion, if that's a good word. You know what I'm saying? This just has everything, and I can't see who's going to be victorious. It's only I'm only I can see this fight going 12 rounds and still sitting there scratching my head like, man, I don't know who won that fight. You know what I'm saying? That just I can just see those two just neutralizing each other on so many fronts, beating each other up. One thing about Josh Taylor I do notice is he has a lot of damage here. Like he had the little gold patches there to help your healing and everything, but he looks like he swells up pretty easily. Like when he was fighting Regis Prograis, he swelled up pretty good. The other guy he fought, he swelled up pretty good, and he'll fight through that. But I don't know how much of that's going to play if Jose Ramirez starts to scar you and cut you and starts to, what I'm saying, close your eyes and things like that. I don't think Jose Ramirez is as accept success. What's a good word? What's the word? Susceptible. I don't think he's as vulnerable. I don't think Jose Ramirez is as easily, you know, his. I think his scar tissue. I don't think he bruises up and I think he has a little bit more of that type of skin that is a little rougher, a little tougher, and can handle a little bit more leather. Scott Josh Taylor's skin to me, once you start hitting him, if you hit him with some good shots, man, it'll show. So that might be a determining factor for the judges as well. Because this is just going to be a bang up fight. This is just going to be some rock'em sock'em. It's going to be a little bit of chess, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of boxing, a little bit of brawling. It's going to be a little bit of everything in this fight because they bring those components to the table. They both have all those different physical attributes. It's just going to be a miraculous fight. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be something to witness. But I'm glad to see us getting promoted. I'm glad to see they both in the right mind. Josh Taylor looked very, very relaxed, man. He did his interview with his shirt off, right on weight, obviously. He's trying to show that he's ahead of the schedule. Jose Ramirez is still trying to, stay moving, stay covered up, stay on the bicycle, stay, what I'm saying, jumping the rope. So obviously he's talking about after this fight, moving up one weight class. So that might be a factor as well. Like, you never know. They don't tell you everything. He might be having a little bit more issues and complications getting down to this weight limit, and that might be a factor. If he doesn't come in the ring where he's 100%, you know what I'm saying, hydrated and 100% of all of his strength back. So that might be a factor. Both of them are some big boys, you know what I'm saying, for that division. So it's just, I don't know who's going to win that fight. It's going to be a great fight. I'm looking forward to it. And then also I watched a little bit of, I did some Caleb Plant, further assessing his abilities. I watched some of his fights. I watched a bunch of his fights. I can't tell you all the guys I watched him fight in the last 2 days, at least about 4 or 5 fights. A guy, I think name was Mike Lee, Pulaski. I watched him fight. Who else? That one guy, I can't say his name, Fudging Butts, something like that. I watched him. I apologize. I don't like saying people's names wrong, but I'm not good with the names. Man, who else, man? Porky, Bolavita. I watched him fight a few fights, and I'm still looking at him, comparing him to Demetrius Andre, comparing him to Canelo, Saul Canelo Alvarez. And I watched some of his interviews as well to see his mentality, man. He's very cool, calm, collected, and he's a thinker, you know what I'm saying? And boxing is a thinking man's game. He might be a little bit too much of a thinker sometimes, I believe. Like in the ring, I see sometimes he have lulls, mental lapses. I still don't see, like I made the video and I want to further elaborate on that. I made the video where he might upset Canelo. I'm still working on that. I want to do another, like a series, at least 3 or 4 videos related to that, because I still think Caleb Plant, if he has a perfect fight, I think he could beat Canelo. Right now, when I look at him versus Canelo, I just be like, oh, that guy got Canelo. No, I am starting to see some glaring issues, but I'm looking at some of his fights that was years ago where he might have improved on certain things. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he's always set. That's one thing I like about him. To me, like I said, he's more put together. He's always set to punch. You know, his base is great. You know, I don't see him off balance a lot, but he works behind the jab very well. He keeps and establishes ring generalship, and he's always set to throw a punch. And I like his combinations. The only thing is, sometimes I feel like he gets a little greedy and starts to throw too many punches in his combinations. And once he starts to fade, his energy starts to fade. He can get caught in between his punches, and his combinations start to slow down. And also, I just see he has some of the same issues as any human is going to have. Where I see in a 12-round fight, sometimes he takes off rounds where he isn't as composed, he isn't as relaxed, he isn't as fluid. He starts to tighten up, he starts to gas out, he starts to do some of the same things that I see that most fighters fighting the Canelo, I see running into the issue where if he's hitting your body, he's wearing you down, he's slowing you down, he got the kind of power that's going to break you down and get you out of there. So I still see the same issues with Caleb Plant that I see for Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre, to me, is more physically gifted than Caleb Plant. You know what I'm saying? He has, I think he has better genetics as far as athletically. I think he just is a more fluid mover. Sometimes when I see Caleb Plant, some of his movements is great, it's perfect, but it still takes a whole lot of this, and you can see that it's just not supernatural. It's not supernatural. He got some rhythm, he got some moves, and he's slick with it. But when he starts to slow down, I can tell that it's still a little bit more robotic. Like he starts to tighten up a little bit, and he starts to become very predictable with his thinking, his combination. You can see when he has to reset. You know what I'm saying? And slow the fight down too much. He has to slow it down and reset and start to establish the jab all over, and then go back into his 1-2, 1-2-3s, 1-2-3-4s. Against Canelo, not gonna let that happen. He has to have a good strategy. He has to come in there against Canelo, and he can't let himself get broke down the first 6 rounds. He got to be on his bicycle. Like the first 6 rounds, if he let Canelo get in any good shots, it's going to start slowing him down. So he has to take the first 5 or 6 rounds and play chess and not get hit perfectly. Then past that, when you start taking them into the, you know what I'm saying, the mid rounds, 6, 7, and 8, 9, then you might want to get bold. Once you felt his power on a few punches, he hit you here, hit you here, hit you here. You know what I'm saying? Now you want to start taking some more bold chances, walking them down, shoulder rolling them, pop shotting them, hitting them with some hard shots and taking some hard shots just to go mano a little bit. But then after that, past 9, once you get into round 9, you still standing, 11 or 10, 11, 12, go back to boxing his ass. Go back to jabbing and staying elusive and not getting hit. You know what I'm saying? You fight to win, but you got to fight smart too. But if you go into the first 6 rounds, and you try to go toe to toe and bang to bang and establish that, you know what I'm saying, you're going to respect my power right off the rip, it's going to be a short night. Canelo going to break him down. But anyways, man, this video stretched out way too long. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, man. Nocturnal Thoughts. I appreciate y'all time, man. Bow, 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 bow. Salute. Gone.